Hello everyone, this is Fog Haze. My last video I showed you a bunch of images that were a little slightly odd, and I wanted to explain how I achieved that, these certain looks and oddities in the skies that several people are claiming to see. And it's not even really trick photography, it's really just bad photography. For example, there was a new moon. I had my 300 millimeter professional camera out, which gave me a very wide range of the sky. There was a new moon, so got good shots of planets and stars. But mainly I was in a very high aircraft traffic area, and I want to show you basically all those pictures that you saw in my last video were actually planes from different distances. Like this one, for example, this was several miles away, and my settings on, you can change the settings on a camera to create any effect really, and you can out of focus, in focus, long exposure times. A lot of it has to do whether or not you're using a tripod. When you're taking pictures of things so far away, you have to use a tripod and a remote control in order to get exactly the image to look proper. When you do not use a tripod, you're going to get blurry, squiggly wigglies, you're going to get all kinds of things. So this was a picture of a plane that I took, and all I did, and mind you, I'm using a 300 millimeter zoom lens. That's about half of a decent telescope. I'm actually able to see a lot of things in space with this. But this right here is a plane that I took from far away. Different settings on my camera. I'm not going to tell you the settings because I just don't want to give away too much, because so much disinformation is put out there. I don't want to invoke other people to try these sort of it's like I said, it's not tricks, but some people can make it seem like a trick. Now if I zoom in on this, it will be, if you've seen my latest video, it will be clear. And that was the Buck Rogers one. Now see all this stuff around here? This is due to blowing up a picture beyond what it should be blown up as. You're just seeing just like a lot of pixelization, and if you look at a lot of Donny's videos, this is what he's done, and you'll see a lot of this stuff around it. He's just taking a shot like this from something very far away and blowing it up beyond recognition and just making it look like something it's not. This was a plane set at certain settings on my camera. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Here's another plane. Okay, and zooming in. You zooming in. Okay, that's that one. This was actually a star, and I was not using a tripod, and I was able to come up with this. Zoomed in on it. Let's see. Okay, this was a plane, and no tripod was being used. This is the original. Okay. Planes have the red and white lights. No brainer. This was actually a long exposure of a planet. Very small. I'm sorry, not a planet, a star. And it's a long exposure because look at how blue it looks here. It was actually a very dark sky. And what I did was I just put it in Photoshop and I blew it up. See, look how small it is. In reality, that's how small it was, but I blew it up, put it in Photoshop, and changed the contrast so it looks like a little scorpion ship. I didn't manipulate this at all, really, except for just changing the brightness and the contrast. That's it. Here's another plane, long exposure. Another plane, zoom, zoom. Okay. This was also a plane, fairly close, and I had the focus way off. And I zoomed in on it, and look, I mean, it looks like planets. Crazy stuff going on. It's a lot of the stuff that Donny is showing you. Most of these things that he's showing you and blowing up, they are planes. There's no question. This right here is actually a plane. This is a plane that started, it was actually flying fairly low, and it took a turn, and it was coming straight at me, and I just completely made it out of focus and just started changing the settings on the camera, and I was able to get just a huge blur of the, I guess what you would call the landing, the lights on the front of the actual airplane itself. So I just zoomed in on it, and it looks like two planets. More planes. Now this one and this one, okay, believe it or not, here's the original picture. Now I didn't set these to long exposures or anything like that. It was just a quick shot. You can clearly see this is a plane in the front, and you have the wing, the right here on that. Now what I did was major close-ups here. Look. Okay. I did the same thing with the Hopi one. That's this one. It's amazing how when you blow up something, it looks completely different than what it is. And see, like I said, look at all this junk around here. You know, that's total pixelization and distortions, and that's where I got this. Kind of looks like a galaxy, but it's not. It's a plane. That looks like a planet. It's just the red light from the plane zoomed in. Just some more distortion I got from another plane. Nothing big. Another one. It's my wormwood. Another plane, different exposures, different focals. Okay, see all this around it? You can tell it's been blown up. This one was very far away, this plane. And this is actually the before, and this is the after. All I did was zoom in on it. I mean, I had to zoom on this one a lot. And then I just inverted it, cleaned it up a little bit, made it bigger. And it just looks like that. This is just a shot of some stars in a cluster. It's called the Pleiades, and it's also known as the Seven Sisters. It's kind of hard to see at night, but if you look at Jupiter, it's that big bright thing you see in the sky for the past month or so. To the left, there is a little cluster, and it's a very well-known cluster. With the naked eye, you can see 6 or 7 of them, but there's actually hundreds of stars in this cluster. It's a very well-known cluster of stars. Now that's just one of these stars zoomed in, okay? And this is a star out of focus completely, and I was able to make it look, you know, kind of brown, like a brown dwarf. Just some more that I did not put in my video, but we got a little squiggly wiggly here. Just more planes. Plane. I like this one. I should have used it in my previous video because it looks like a foot. This is just another plane, not using a tripod. I wish I would have put this one in my video too. This is actually a planet with different settings on my professional camera, and I'm not going to tell you exactly how I did it because I don't want anyone to get any ideas, even if they can, which I don't think they can, but I really like that one. Looks like it's raining comets. Plane. Here's another one. These are actually 2 planes. One here and one here. Different settings on my camera. And if you blow this one up, it looks really weird, and you see the pixelization around it. And then there's the other one down there. Same. There's a plane here, plane here. There's another plane. Another plane. Star. I'll go ahead and tell you what this is. And this is a picture of Jupiter with certain settings, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but Donny has one on there now that is green. And I actually took a picture of the same thing he took before he even showed this on his last video. That's another headlight from an airplane that I just zoomed in on. Another plane. And then we're back to Buck Rogers. So hopefully that explains a lot of these things that is going on with Donny's photography. You know, it's quite obvious. And mostly what you're seeing, these squiggly wigglies and stuff like that, they are planes, no doubt about it. There's nothing unusual. The settings that he's using, he's trying to focus, and I guess he thinks that the larger the focus is what it really looks like, which is not the case. Not the case at all. I mean, you really have to know what you're doing in order to get a good shot. And I'm going to show you in my next video this object that he keeps talking about, and also everyone else, of this bright star that appears in the northeast, and it continues going overhead. That's actually Jupiter, and I will explain that in my next video, and I got a good shot of it too, and I'll discuss that next. But I hope you guys understand what's going on now, and ciao.